Hello kids, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Ms. Aruni. I will be covering your grade 10 business and accounting studies as usual. Let's go to our lesson number 3, the business organizations. So what is this lesson about? Let's see the learning outcomes. You should be able to list out different types of business organizations and describe their main features. Write about the advantages and disadvantages of those organizations. Discuss the advantages of the organizations such as cooperatives, state institutions, departments, and show how appropriate business organizations are based on the aim, scale, as well as describe about the sole traders. How is it appropriate to manage? How do you register it? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of sole tradership? So let's go to our discussion today. On your first lesson, you have learned about classification of business organizations. So this is similar to that. So business organizations could be classified based on the ownership. So there are two subsectors of business organizations which we could classify based on their ownership. First one is the private sector. If it is a person or a group who are privately investing funds for the business, then it is a private sector organization. So the examples are sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies, cooperatives, and other associations. And those businesses where the government provide funds is a public sector organizations. They are businesses under the central government, provincial councils, and local government institutions. So, for your easiness of the knowledge or to easily understand, these organizations are simply the departments, state corporations, and other government owned companies, right? But when you're writing, please do not write like what are the classification and don't jump into writing departments and state corporations. Write businesses under the government or central government, provincial councils, and then provide this example. Please stick to your textbook whenever you're working. Our next form of business classification is classifying business based on the objective. So, Putte, there are two objectives or aims of a business, right? Either the business might have the objective or the aim of incurring a profit. So, we call them for profit businesses or profit oriented businesses. While there can be others who have the objective of providing a welfare to the society. We call them as not for profit businesses or welfare oriented businesses. So, whether it is a for profit business or non profit business, they can be working on either the private sector or the public sector. The private sector profit oriented business organizations are sole proprietorships, partnerships, and incorporated companies, while public sector profit oriented businesses are the state companies. For non profit oriented private sector organizations, they are the cooperative societies and other associations, while public sector non-profit businesses are usually the state corporations and departments. So these businesses which are working for a profit are owned by the private sector. These businesses, though owned by the public sector, aims a profit. While cooperatives and other associations being private sectors still are non-profit, while state corporations and department in the public sector are non-profit oriented. So I hope you got an understanding of how we classify businesses. Next, business classification done based on the scale. So there are two major sub-classifications for this, that is small and medium scale businesses and large scale businesses. So business organizations which employ a large amount of workers or capital. There are different classifications which you do not need to learn in this level. So, based on the amount of employees they have, or their turnover, or their production, we classify them either based on small or medium scale or large scale. Now, let's go towards the types of business organizations. There are a set of business organizations that you have to know. I'm providing a summary of each business organization. First one is the sole proprietorships. These are simply called as sole traders or businesses owned by one person. So the special features are the investment of capital is done by owner or one person. They are having the rules and regulations they have are really low. The profit and losses are borne by the owner alone. The responsibility for the debt is limitless. That is, if the owner does or incur debt, or if he is liable to pay money to another person, then he have to bring his own funds, either selling his private property to sell or to sell his private property to somehow pay back what is due by the business. And then the absence of individuality, absence of criteria for establishment, no going concern. These businesses does not have a continuous survival, and their registration is not compulsory, and they have the ability to take independent decisions. So these are the basic features of sole proprietorships. They have a set of advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are it can be easily started, can be controlled easily, all profits belong to the owner, have good confidentiality or trustworthiness, owner can commit easily, the administrative decisions could be taken personally so that the management is easily done by the owner himself, and he can employ his own skills to the maximum level he can. But these sole proprietorships have a set of disadvantages as well. They have an unlimited responsibility. As I said, if they incur a debtness, or in simple terms, if I tell in Sinhala, if I say it, ඒගොල්ලෝ ණයක් අරගත්තොත්, what will happen is that එයාලට වෙනවා එයාලගේ private funds. එහෙම නැත්නම් පෞද්ගලික දේපල විකුණා මේ ණය පියවීමට. ණය business එකෙන් ගත්ත එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. business එක පාඩු ලබනවා නම් අන්න ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී එයාලට සිදු වෙනවා business එකේ පාඩු පියවීම සඳහා පෞද්ගලික දේපල විකුණා හෝ ණය පියවීමට. Right? So I hope you understood it. And then they have an issue of finding capital required, no going concern or no continuousness of these businesses. They are not having a legal background, and sometimes the personal decisions or the decisions made by the owners can fail the business. Our next organization is the partnerships. These are organizations with a minimum of 2 number of members or with maximum of 20 members. They have a partnership agreement, either written or verbally, and then the capital is invested by these partners. Their liability is also unlimited. As I said before, they also have to bring private property or funds if the business incur losses or is in debt. And the registration is not compulsory for them. They also do not have a legal status. That means they cannot go in front of the court if something is happened under the business name, they cannot go in front of the court. And then they also does not have a continuous existence. So these businesses does not have a long-term survival. These are the basic features of the partnerships. The advantages are they can be easily started, compared to sole proprietors, as there are 2 to 20 members, a big capital or a pool of capital could be collected. And as there's a set of partners, you can use all of their skills and the liabilities shared among them. They also share the profit and losses, as well as when there's a set of partners, you can take decisions collectively. They also have a set of disadvantages. As they have a set of partners, they have the responsibilities to them and which is unlimited. The profit shared among several partners makes them to have a little share of profit. And they also does not have a continuous existence. When there is a large or a set of large amount or a set of partners, conflicts, disputes, and misunderstandings can occur. Also, they do not have a legal status. So, this is about the basics of what partnership is about. Next, it is the incorporated companies. Incorporated companies are companies registered under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007. They have a continued existence. That means since they are registered, they have a long term existence or survival. They have limited liability. The owners or the shareholders do not need to bring private money or funds to settle business loans. They can raise capital by issuing shares. These companies can issue a portion of share to collect capital. Their advantages are they can raise more capital, they have a legal personality, they have continued existence, they have limited liability, and they are managed by a board of directors. So, because of that, there won't be much conflicts among them. The disadvantages are they have a greater level of legal provisions. That means since they have a legal status, they will have to adhere to set of rules and regulations and other legal matters. And profits and ownership are shared. So not only one person, but a group shares the profits and the ownership. Next, it is the cooperative societies. These you have learnt in your grade 9 civic as well. These basic features of them are it is a democratic controlled, voluntarily owned, and an open membership institution where the collective ownership of the cooperative societies is on its members, and they have a common set of expectations and needs. So, Putte, these are democratically controlled, they are voluntary and open memberships. So if you are in a particular area and you prefer to join a cooperative society, you can do that. It is a voluntary act. It has a collective ownership and they have common objectives and needs to fulfill. Their advantages are they have democratic control, they act for the well-being of the members. The government provide various incentives for these cooperative societies, and the economic benefits are shared. So, formal sole proprietorships, partnerships, and incorporated companies, we talked about profits. Here, it is economic benefits, right? Because these are voluntary ones who are having a common objective. And the disadvantages are they have a limited capital, right? So they get their capital through the membership fees and other collections. So because of that, they have limited capital and they have to adhere to the cooperative policies given by the government. Next, it is the associations. They have the objective of providing well being to the society and they are formed either to do a community service or a charitable activity. So the advantages are they will provide welfare to the society and work for the society, and they will do charity. But the disadvantages are they do not have a legal background, they do not have a continuous existence, and conflicts can occur at any time. Next, it is the state corporations. These are government owned and controlled institutions with the objective of providing services commonly. They have a legal personality and they start either under a special act or a general act from the government. They have a continuous existence. So the advantages are they can provide essential services properly and reduce the monopoly of the private sector. The profits collected by these corporations are owned by the public. So the money they collect will go towards the public welfare. But the disadvantages are they cannot make independent decisions because it is owned and controlled by the government. And they have to adhere to the financial regulations of the government. Next, it is the departments. They are owned and controlled by the government. They do legal activities. The head of the department will represent the department under its position, and they have a continued existence and they are funded by the government. So basically if you are writing what departments are, they are institutions or businesses controlled and owned by the government where it has a continued existence and funded by the government. The advantages are the department provides essential services which the private sector might not provide. And these departments will handle long term development activities which need a large amount of funds. And lot of people or a large number of employees get employment opportunities or job opportunities from these departments, and they provide services for the well-being of people without a profit motive. So while these are the advantages, there are disadvantages as well. The decisions made will be delayed since the minister of the respective minister and the government should approve their decisions. So if we talk about how we select a business, you can either select a business based on the objective, if it is profit oriented or welfare oriented, or based on the scale, whether it is small scale or large scale, or by the person who performed the management, whether it's the owners or the person or a group. Next is about the registration of sole proprietorships. So, to register a sole proprietorship, you should first take the application from the Divisional Secretariat Office. To do so, you have to register, you have to get the following documents: an application form to register the business name of a sole proprietorship, and a form to obtain required report from Grama Niladhari regarding the registration of the business name. So application is taken from the divisional secretariat. You need to have two documents, one to register the business name and the other is to take a report from the Grama Niladhari regarding the registration. After that, you should hand over the certified report of the Grama Niladhari and the completed application, these two documents, with the registration fee to the divisional secretariat or the divisional secretary. Next, after considering all the above documents, the divisional secretary will issue the certificate of registration of business name. It is required to display this certificate at the business place. There are a set of conditions you have to think as well. If a sole proprietorship is conducted in a name other than the full name of its owner, then you should definitely register your business. The registrar of the respective provincial council is the authorized officer to register the business name. So if there's a question asking who is the authorized officer to register the business name? It is the registrar of the respective provincial council. The application form required for the registration is what is collected from the divisional secretariat. The registration fee will be determined by the respective provincial council within the authority given to them. Further, it is required to submit an application to register the business name within 14 days of commencing a sole proprietorship. So, these are the points you have to remember. If it is not in your full name, if the business is not in your full name, you have to definitely register it. The person authorized to register is the registrar of the respective provincial council. Application forms are taken by the divisional secretariat. Registration fee is determined by the provincial council. And once you start the business, within 14 days, you have to definitely register your sole proprietorship organization or business. These are the advantages of registering the business. It provides an identity and recognition to your business. It provides an ownership of the business name. You can have an attractive business name and it is owned to you because it is registered. Nobody can copy it. And it provides a qualification to obtain incentives given by the government. So, when even a small business is registered, the government is able to give them different incentives, as well as it will help you to obtain loans. So, hope you enjoyed learning with us. Thank you.